Jemel McWilliams is the choreographer behind the opening number at the Oscars this past year, the performance by Janelle Monae and Billy Porter, and he just got nominated for an Emmy for it. I'm Kevin Jacobsen of
Yeah.
Gold Derby. Yeah, celebrate. I'm Kevin Jacobsen of Gold Derby here with Jamel. And to start off, this is your first Emmy nomination. Can you just tell us about finding out on the day and getting that sort of recognition from your peers?
Oh man, it was crazy. I was in my bed in LA. I was on the phone with my mom, probably around I think the Emmys came on at 8:30 on the Eastern Standard Time. And it was like 8 o'clock. And I was like, Mom, today's the day. And she's like, What's the day? And I was like, Today is the Emmy day. And she's like, Oh, right. And maybe about 8:45, I was still on the phone with my mom, and my agent called and told me, and then I clicked over and told her, and of course we screamed about it. And then shortly after that, I was like, you know what, this is a lot of energy, I need to take a nap. And I tried to take a nap, but my phone kept ringing and ringing, and so then I just jumped up and started dancing around my house.
Yeah, I think I would too. So while we're on the topic of awards, since you're nominated for your work at the Oscars, what kind of relationship did you have to the Oscars in general, just watching the Oscars before you got involved with this?
My relationship with the Oscars prior to this, I would say I'm definitely a person in Hollywood who has definitely spoken my mind, and I've definitely spoken out about, just making sure that there's been inclusion and all of that across the board. My relationship with the Oscars has been one where I have seen progress, but I have also desired more and progress with regards to inclusivity. And this year, I just felt honored that it seemed like they opened that door, and they made a bold statement. They opened the show with a queer Black activist woman who, at the same time is an amazing actress, amazing performer. So she speaks to so many areas, and then the amount of minorities and Blacks and all of this that we got to bring on stage was just amazing. And so I felt like this was an opportunity, and they took the opportunity, and I was proud to be the choreographer and artistic director of it.
Well, I remember leading up to the Oscars, there wasn't really anything released about what Janelle Monae was going to do. We knew that she was going to be on the show. I don't think we
Yeah,
even knew that she was going to open the Oscars from what I remember,
yeah,
or what she
yeah.
would be performing even. So how did that whole process come about for you, and then like keeping it all a secret?
Well, it's been amazing. I've been with Janelle for many years now, and we just, in general, we love to just let the work speak for itself. We don't jump into a whole lot of telling people what we're going to do or anything like that. Our rehearsals are closed, even closed to like production. So production, they came one time, but they were like, okay, we're used to coming like a lot to see these things. And it's just, that's Janelle's policy. And I support that. It allows us to stay in our artistic and creative space and then present the work that we feel from our hearts. And so it was pretty easy for us to keep it a secret, because that's what we do. We just like to keep it in house and then present it to the world.
Yeah, well, it's no secret that the performance really highlighted some of the films of 2019 that were very much ignored by the Oscars, like Us and Dolomite Is My Name and Queen and Slim, these movies that were well received by a lot of critics, these films with primarily Black casts and yet kind of shut out of nominations. And this was the ceremony where only Cynthia Erivo was the only Black actor nominated. So how important was that to sort of be involved in a performance that was actually highlighting this group of films that people liked that were shut out at the Oscars?
It was an absolute honor to be able to get onto the Oscar stage and be ourselves, and represent ourselves, and make sure that when we had the opportunity, such a grand and such an amazing honor to do what we felt from our hearts, that we wanted to make sure that we included all of the movies and represented the women directors of the year and all of those. And we just wanted to make sure that we represented what spoke to our hearts. And so that was most important to us. And we got a chance to do it, and we're thankful for it. And I'm completely honored that I was aligned in this moment, in this time. It's 2020. This we had no idea how 2020 was going to turn out in February when we did this. But now to see where 2020 has gone, I think this has become probably the best year for something like this to happen and be presented to the world. It just all makes sense right now.
Yeah, very serendipitous moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any just influences with the style of dancing that you wanted the background dancers to be performing?
You know what? My biggest influence is for us to dance from our heart and our souls. Like literally, I was in rehearsal, and in rehearsal, there's you have the option of being technically sound versus being just, you can still have your skill level and your technique with it, but make sure that your heart and your soul leads. And I feel like the souls speak to each other more than technicality does. And so my biggest thing to all the dancers and performers in general, because we have musicians on stage as well, is just, guys, soul, feel the soul, feel the soul. I made sure that the soul was in the choreography specifically so that everyone had room to be expressive, because this was the theme was come alive, and these characters were coming alive. And so characters are different and souls are different. So for me, it was important for everyone to bring their individuality to it, within the scope of the technicality of the performance. But as long as their soul was shining through, I knew we would be A-okay. So for me, that was the most important. I just kept saying, soul, soul, guys, but where's the soul?
Yeah. Well, what were the kind of considerations as far as like putting on a strong performance for the audience in the room to sort of react to and even sort of bounce off of, and also, the audience watching at home on their TVs and making it work in both of those areas?
I feel like that's one of the first things that I learned years back when I first started choreographing for television, is to just make sure that a lot of people, I think sometimes, or maybe not a lot, but there are some choreographers that I think sometimes forget that the energy in the room does translate on camera or through camera, or at least, if nothing more, it translates to the performers on stage who then project through camera. So for me, making sure that there were times we had interaction with the audience, and making sure that, Wonderland was really, really, really involved with making sure that the sound in the house was unique to this performance. So though it may have been louder than what this Oscars audience was used to, I think that it allowed them to feel where we were coming from. And I think that we saw that in the standing ovation. We saw that in just halfway through the song. If you watch back, you can see that there were people standing up at that point. So for for all of us involved, understanding and respecting those that are in the room is absolutely important to pulling off a well-rounded, soulful performance.
Yeah. And we
A
got to
performance
see
that you can
Janelle.
really feel in your heart,
Right. Right.
you know?
We got to see Janelle Monae doing a call-in response with Kathy Bates. I mean, it
Kathy
was
Bates,
amazing.
Leonardo DiCaprio,
Yeah.
like, what
Yeah.
is life?
I know.
And
Well,
then lay on the floor beside her
right.
her guitarist. And this is the Oscars, guys, unprecedented. But we, like I said, we came with the intention of doing us, and we were given the room and the space to do that, and that's what we presented to the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Janelle Monae, you said you've been working with her for a while now. How
Mhm.
collaborative is she with you and the work you're doing and the other dancers?
Oh, that's my sister, and she's such a visionary. She's such an artist. I think I'd be remiss not to take every opportunity that I have to just be in the studio with her and create with her. And so very collaborative. It's she and I the entire step of the way. She loves to rehearse and she loves to really invest in the development of the performance. And so a lot of times she and I start weeks before the dancers start, and we just get in there, whether it's with the music or whether it's with the whatever instrument she's using, and we just move and we just again just let our souls tell us where to go. And from there it usually gives me a framework of you know, where we should place different moments and beats within the performance. And then I can set the full framework, but it's all breathing through my and her like connection and collaboration.
So, were there any little details within your choreography that maybe a casual viewer might not notice on a first watch, but that you were maybe particularly proud of just being able to pull off?
The details. Ha! There's a lot of details. I'm a very, as much as I just let the soul lead us, my dancers will tell you, I like the breaths that we take. I'm like, I want a united breath. So even when we come up, we do a double spin and hit. I'm like, guys, I want us to hit, breathe, you know, and it's just something that just aligns us. So there's so many details. I could sit here for days, but there's this one moment during the I Got Five on it, which was homage to oh my God, it's evading me. Us, sorry. Woo.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
During Us, there was one moment during that Us section. Dun, 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 dun. There's so much like technicality to the feet, but you couldn't quite catch it. But if you go back and catch it, go back and watch it now with this intention, you'll probably see it. But the feet are going boom, 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 head, head, boom, 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 boom. Like that was so cool. Did I freeze?
No, you're back.
Okay,
You very
okay, yeah.
briefly froze, but it's okay.
Okay, cool. So the
Yeah.
feet were going boom, 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 head. So there's that moment that I just was like, oh, I just hope that the people feel that.
Yeah, definitely. People
Yeah.
go look and watch that back.
Go
Um,
watch that moment back.
yeah. So you've also been very busy since then. You did John Legend's Father's Day special on top of his
Hmm.
performance for the One World Together at Home special. So, what has that adjustment been, just working as a choreographer in this time of being in lockdown?
Woo, it's been a creative stretch, but I love it. But boy, oh boy, has it been a stretch. Yes, I have been fortunate to continue to have moments to during quarantine where, you know, again, we're trying to figure it out, right? So no one in the industry really knows what's going on. But then John still has a single out, and there's still people who are who need music, you know, and specifically the single Bigger Love by John, which was something that really could uh, really vibrate around the world, you know, something that we all need at this time. So it was important for us to really get this message out to the world during this time. So, you know, imagine we're in our homes, but John is in his home taping himself, or gets Chrissy and Luna to help tape. And then I'm on FaceTime with John's team, and we're like, okay, but maybe try this angle. And then I'm getting dancers who are calling me like, does this lighting work? And I'm like, no, I can't see your face. I want to see your beautiful face. So there's just a lot of new elements that come into play now that we have these type of performances. But one thing I can say is I think that as a community, it's brought us as artists even closer together. We really more than ever right now are relying on each other. You know, specifically with the dancers. Dancers are out of work and have been out of work, and I think a lot of times are very overlooked. And so we've been doing the best we can to keep each other uplifted. Janelle Monae did a lunch giveaway to the LA residents, and she had a few extra, a few hundred lunches that I requested, and she allowed me to take them back to North Hollywood, where I live in California, and gave them out to dancers who, you know, are like don't forget about us over here. You know, we don't have work either. So, Jaquel Knight, a good friend of mine, he has a foundation that he's been doing, and I did a dance-a-thon with him and Debbie Allen to raise money for dancer relief program. So, we're all coming together and trying to work it out, but within these unprecedented times, it's stretching the creativity, but that's the fun of it.
That's very cool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you feel like just from this time in quarantine that you are going to take anything with you into consideration as far as once we get back to some semblance of normal again?
Anything into consideration from quarantine? That I do not like doing Zoom rehearsals. Ah! No, again, I think the biggest thing that I'll take away is the importance of telling each other you love them while we can. This is a an unprecedented time, and yes, I spoke to the creativity and the fun we get to have as artists, but also with respect to all of those that we've lost during COVID-19. um, I just I'm not taking life for granted. I thought that I never did, but in having more time to reflect, I realized that there's more connection that I want to maintain and not allow work and the fighting through the industry, trying to make sure that you're seen and all of that, not allow that to take front seat to the love that I have of connection and connecting with my mom and my family and friends and just supporting each other. So for me, I get to take away that from quarantine and this COVID pandemic experience.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jamel, for speaking to us today. It was a
Absolutely.
real
Thank
pleasure, and
you.
good luck with the Emmys. Congratulations
Thank
again.
you. Thank you so
And
much.
yeah,
Fingers crossed.
I'm
And
rooting
go
for
back
you.
and watch that moment. And doom
Yes, go
doom.
back and watch. There's
Dun.
a lot of information to take in there. Yeah. For those of you watching, hit like and subscribe for more interviews with Emmy nominees like Jamel, and head over to goldderby.com to start making your winner predictions.